Hello, friends. This is Nicole Scott from Own Your Sparkle, and I have Karen Phillips here from Nashville. Hello.
Hey, Nicole.
So we found each other on Instagram because, like, where else are we going to meet new people, right? Social media,
Exactly.
way it brings us together. And her handle, and you can follow her, is Grateful and Gray. And because she's in the U.S., the spelling of Gray is Gray. Us Canadians, we spell it Grey.
Why?
So sure you get your spelling right with the Gray. But Karen, I'm going to be interviewing her today. I just want to highlight she's a mama bear to 4 kids, 11 to 24. So she is a busy mom. And the cool thing is, we were just talking, and she has the same anniversary as me, which is 2 years in October. So she just celebrated her 2 year, and so did I. So, and look, as she said, she just got her hair cut with the last of the bleach. So we're kind of on the same path. So again, thanks, Karen, for being here. And I want to just dive in. And the first question is, tell me about yourself and why you decided to ditch the dye.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. I just love that you are doing this. And I think it's really cool that we are on the same track as well. So, yeah, like you said, I'm a mama to 4. I've been married to my junior high sweetheart for 24 years. I am a fitness fanatic, yoga instructor. I love skincare. And I guess I've somewhat become a positive aging and silver hair ambassador on Instagram the last couple of years. But I wasn't always a picture of health. So in my early 40s, I was really at a low point when it came to my health and wellness. And I had just really longed for this healthy lifestyle that I couldn't seem to attain. And my brother actually was diagnosed with diabetes, and it was just sort of a wake up call. And so I began starting to realize that the issue that I had wasn't in another kind of quick fix plan, but it was really in my mind. I did not value myself, believe in myself, and I had a lot of habits and mindsets that just weren't serving me well. So I kind of thought I'm going to give it one more go. I started learning everything I could about habit transformation, growth mindset, and just kind of starting to realize the things that I needed to change. So that was, let's see, about 2016, I started this health and wellness journey. 2017, I became a yoga instructor. And then by 2018 was when I started really thinking about growing out my silver hair. So it was really for me just an extension of this health and wellness journey. I was really just no longer at peace with the use of chemicals. My skin was not liking it. My hair was getting really thin. I had really gotten careful about what I was putting in my body and on my body, but I was still every 3 weeks putting these chemicals on, the most absorbent part of my body. And I just didn't have peace of mind about it. And so that was the big reason I wanted to ditch the dye, was really for my health. And also I was just kind of learning about self-acceptance, and I was wanting to grow in that area as well. So it kind of became a whole lot more, as you probably know, through the course of the whole process. But it really started as an extension of this health journey that I had been on.
That's amazing. I love it. And you mentioned like the wake up call, right? And I guess my message to women is, I'm like, don't wait for the wake up call, but sometimes we have to wait for the wake up call for us to actually take action. And same for me. And Karen, I have a very similar story. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I have been for 15 years. My first wake up call was my daughter, who had 75 food allergies and a compromised immune system before she was 1 year old.
Oh, wow.
My first wake up call to leave a corporate industry where I was selling processed food and move over to the wellness industry. So my journey began very steep because I had to learn how to cook everything from scratch. I had
Right.
to cook dairy free, gluten free, color free, everything free. So,
Okay.
but I had to like immerse myself in it. So very
Right.
similar to you. And then I knew in nutritional school that this needed to go, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Right?
Exactly.
I'm going to outrun this because I'm going to do this, and this right, right? But I'm going to outrun the die.
Mm-hmm.
How many women can relate to like, I'm going to outrun this bad habit and hopefully the other good stuff will, balance out.
Outweigh.
I thought until I had lumps in my breast a couple years ago. And in that 1 week of unknowing if they were cancer or not, guess what I did? Went to the books and I'm like, where else in my life am I avoiding? And the first thing that came up with a level of toxicity was just like you, every 3 weeks dyeing my hair,
Yeah.
absorbing it into the most precious part, our brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if anything happened to me, just don't screw my brain up, right?
Right.
If I
Right.
like from here down, if my brain still worked, I would be okay.
Okay.
You're putting, like, that. So that was my journey too. So very similar to health. So
That's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so I had to have a health scare.
Mm-hmm.
The health scare, and you had your brother have the health scare. So we woke up. So we're both awakened women.
Wait. I hope so.
So both of us are on this journey together for health, right, ladies? We all have
Right.
reasons. Okay, second question is, what was your transition like? What did you decide? Because I know that there are many different options, and I have a guide on my website that talk about like kind of the 6 most common transitions. I talk a lot about it on Instagram. What did you decide to go and go to the other side? Because it's a scary choice of, should I shave my head? Should I bleach
Right.
it? Should I cut it short? Should I let it grow out? Should I go cold turkey? What was your
Exactly. So, like you said, there's lots of options. And what I always tell women is the one that works for you and allows you to get through this process is the one that's right for you. For me, because of the way my skin was reacting to the dye, I really just felt like I just needed to be done with it. It wasn't something I ever really enjoyed, and it was just kind of over it. But I did think that I would go through the process, kind of blending my hair was very dark, so I had this demarcation line. So I did go in about 9 weeks out from my last dye, and she did just some low lights just around the crown of my head. But it was with a demi permanent dye, so it kind of faded quickly. It didn't really have that much of an effect, but it did sort of help me in that early time period. Those first few months are the hardest. And it just sort of softened it just enough for just long enough for me to start kind of building some confidence. And then my hairdresser really suggested the best thing for my health, the health of my hair, was just to go cold turkey. So she kind of was my psychologist and hairdresser all wrapped up in one. And she walked me through it. And that's what I did. I just went cold turkey from there on out. And like we said, it took about 2 years. Average hair growth is what, half an inch a month. So it was a long process, but looking back, it really feels like it went pretty fast.
yeah, absolutely. And what could you comment about the transition? So you mentioned the first 2 months were really hard and uncomfortable, but then you get through it. How about this? What were some of the lessons learned in that 2-year journey?
Oh, goodness. So many. I think, uh, yeah, getting through those first few months, you feel very vulnerable and exposed, right? I mean, we've worked so hard at hiding and covering what's there. And so, really, the growing out your hair part is kind of the easy part. Like, you're just not dyeing your hair anymore. But for me, at least, the growth really happened on the inside because you're working on that, internal dialogue that you have and feeling vulnerable, but putting yourself out there and getting out of your comfort zone and going places with this, line of demarcation. Um, And at first, I just kind of did what I had to do to get through the day. So if I needed a headband or some root spray or a hat, I just did that. Um, but there were just so many lessons along the way. I mean, in growth and getting out of your comfort zone, letting go of what other people think, letting go of that underlying shame. I mean, all of that is really, I think, why we end up saying this is so much more than hair, because you're really kind of pushing yourself. And, that inner dialogue is so important. Not comparing ourselves to others and being kind and speaking to ourselves like we would a friend. Those were lessons, I needed to learn.
I love
Uh,
that. Oh my gosh,
mhm.
that is just so brilliant. And I think like the story of like it so represents life, right? Like, we're both moms and we tell our kids every day to go out and be brave and to be strong and to get up in front of the room and to, have that uncomfortable presentation and you don't want to do it and you feel like throwing up. And where do we stop as women? At what age do we stop doing that for ourselves? We expect
Right.
from our kids, but then all of a sudden we show up in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, and we're like, well, I'm not going to do that, or oh, that's uncomfortable. It's like a double standard. It's like
Exactly.
telling them to do one thing, but we're not willing to do the do. So that's
Hmm.
what really a big lesson for me was. It's like, Nicole, like you're a health professional and you're role modeling for your kids, but you're not willing to let go of something that's probably harming you. And then it's like, and then what lesson are you sending to your clients as well, where you're telling them to get as healthy as they can, but you're not willing to go the full distance. So
Exactly.
hypocrite, right? So
Yeah, just a lot of self-reflection that, that comes with this journey.
very deep women. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very so how are you feeling now? You've been 2 years. How are you feeling with the gray hair? How's your family feeling about this journey? How like that feeling today?
Today, I feel just like liberated. That is like the main thing. I think, first of all, it's just so liberating. I think, when you step out and do what you feel is right for you, and you let go of that fear, you let go of that shame, you stop worrying what anyone else thinks. I think that's why it's so liberating. So, beauty culture says this is beauty, and it has, there's this narrow view of what beauty is. And going against that, I don't know, it just feels amazing. And
Yeah.
I just have so much more peace of mind. I think that's what it is too, because I wasn't comfortable with the decision that I was making, but I was doing it out of fear and shame. So when I kind of started evaluating my why, like why I was dyeing my hair, I realized the reasons were not healthy reasons. So it quickly became apparent, why I needed to let go of it. Um, so I think peace of mind, health and liberation. I just feel free and happy and it feels great. My hair is so much healthier. I even feel like the skin on my face is healthier, and I don't know if it's related, but it's just kind of strange. I wonder what the dye was doing to the rest of my body.
That's
Um, and
amazing.
then there's also like I feel strong. Like I feel I went into something that I was scared and nervous about, and but really wanted to do and saw it through, and it just kind of built that internal strength. So that's how I feel today. I would have zero regrets.
Love that. It's built internal strength. And
Yeah.
you I think, the words that I've heard with women is like, I feel like a badass. I kind of feel like,
Yeah.
oh, and oh, just like you say, like, the stats are 75% of women dye their hair. So we're in that 25%. That's
Okay.
what,
I didn't know that.
right? We're going against the grain. So for you women that want to be a little bit badass and rebel, and you heard all of the beautiful reasons why Karen, decided to do it, and then her lessons learned and how she's feeling today. What a beautiful journey. And thank you for sharing that, Karen. I so appreciate it. And I'm going to send you my book. I wrote a book,
Yay!
you this book,
Awesome.
Naked with Your Natural Hair Color, and talk about one of the most vulnerable things that I did was to actually pose naked for this book. I wanted to throw up. I thought it would be the last thing in the world that I would
Would ever do.
My kids were horrified. You could just imagine. But the reason why I did it, not to like, oh, look at my body, oh, whatever. It was my 15-year journey from the beginning of getting into the wellness industry to getting to the place of getting my mind right. And in that 15-year journey, is it got to a place where the mask started to come off. And I'm sure that you understand that, right? And when the mask started to come off, all that's left is you're naked with yourself in
Right.
in truth.
And your truth, yeah.
So the book is really about that truth, that authentic truth. I would have never done this 15 years ago. And it's funny because I would have been lower weight, probably in better shape. And I would have been, no, I'm not.
I'm not doing that.
Getting this right, to be okay with everything at whatever stage you're at, and to give women permission to just love and adore their bodies at every stage, at every level, right?
And be so grateful. You know, the gift of life, the gift of aging, it's just such a privilege. And when you can get to that point of really accepting and valuing yourself, you know, it just opens up the world to you. So
exactly.
I love that.
But tell our audience again how they can find you on Instagram and they can follow you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Grateful and Gray, Gray. And really, I chose that name because I wanted to be grateful for aging and the gift of aging, and not be afraid of it. So you can find me there. There are lots and lots of wonderful Silver Sisters. That's been one of the most amazing parts of this journey, is finding this supporting and encouraging community. But I would love, if you have questions, you can find me there.
Awesome. And thank you, followers, for tuning in and listening to another heartfelt Own Your Sparkle story. For more of these inspirational stories, you can go to my YouTube channel, Own Your Sparkle. You can also join the Gorgeous Gray movement on Facebook, where we are women lifting each other up and supporting each other on our journey of aging with, what was the word that you used? Just empowerment, right? Just being empowered as women.
Absolutely.
Hair is. And that's one thing I love, is that every gray is different.
Yeah. And it's all so unique and different. And I haven't seen one transition that wasn't beautiful.
Right. So beautiful. Exactly. Okay. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you so much.